So today we're going to be continuing to take a look at a scenario where civilization starts over. We are now on episode 29 of the series. Yep, we are on episode 29, and in today's episode, we will see all of the events leading up to the big World War II. It will be happening in the next episode, but do know that the World War II video is likely going to be extremely long. It will be hopefully extremely detailed. I'm on week number 2 of college now, editing this. Hopefully it's not horrible. I imagine that I'm probably acquainted to it now, and yeah, hopefully I'm not wanting to jump out the dorm window. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to be pre-recording all of the civilization videos and probably a bunch of other videos before I go. I'm recording this on August 17th. You're seeing this August 31st. But yeah, you guys know that these videos are pre-recorded. Once the pre-recorded era is done, you will see the background change, and I will either be in my dorm room or in my car, because if I can't record in my dorm, guess where I'm recording? My vehicle. You gotta do what you gotta do. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure to show some support and leave a like on this video. Also subscribe if you're new, and let's go ahead and jump straight into it. All right, so in the last episode, which I just got done recording, a lot of things happened. If you don't want to hear the recap, of course, just skip ahead. If you ever get bored in these videos, just skip ahead. I like to yap a lot, so it's understandable. But the old empire and the Russian country formed an alliance, and they also have a new member in the Norwegian country. The Triangle Alliance also expanded to the northern Yugoslav country as well as the Greek country. And then we saw the formation of the Circle Alliance, which is just kind of a common interest alliance over here in Asia. The Vietnamese country went on a little bit of an expansion hunt. Of course, the old empire did as well. And what else happened? Stuff happened. Go check out that video. But today we will be starting our video over here in East Asia, where a lot of things have actually been going down recently. But what we see is a war between the Dark Cyan country, or I guess Dark Gray country, because there's already a Dark Cyan country, and the Pink country. Now the Pink country here is recently expanded up north, and so is the Dark Cyan country. But the Dark Cyan country has been around for a very long time. They've been around since basically the Koreans arrived here way back in the series. But seeing that they might be able to profit from the new technology that they are producing, as well as profit from all the weapons that they're buying from the Korean country, they will decide to test them out against the Pink country. And I really need to update the provinces. I really wanted to do a live stream of me finishing off this map. I might have. You're seeing this like in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So it's kind of hard to tell if I did that or not for me. You guys will know. Probably not. But if I ever find time to do the live stream, I will, and I will finish off this map, which it honestly shouldn't be too bad because Africa will have a lot of big provinces, and so will all the other colony areas. Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully I do that because I won't be able to live stream when I'm in college. Anyway, this Dark Cyan/Gray team will send their troops right over into the Pink team, who is surprised by this attack, and unfortunately for them, they are literally no match to these guys. They're not really receiving any of that old weapon usage from the Koreans. They're not really receiving it from anybody, as a matter of fact. So they will instead resort to guerrilla warfare up north, and this is where the Gray team isn't really paying attention, and they ended up getting severed into two. Now that isn't too big of an issue because, as you'll see, all their population is down here in the smaller province areas. So instead they will sweep up right through this area, wiping out, well, there's no major towns, so they'll wipe out any major settlements. And as the Pink team chases them out of Siberia, they will give chase right behind them. And eventually the guerrilla warfare will die down, and they will resort up to the Arctic Circle, where they all freeze and die. Yeah, no mercy for them, they're dead. Anyway, the Gray team is victorious here, and in this peace treaty, simply enough, they will fully annex them. Oh no, there is major stuff up here. I just didn't have the right thing on. Now I do want to say, just because this country was able to easily wipe out the Pink team, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're too strong. The Pink team was one of the weakest countries in the world, and these guys aren't even in the top 15 in power. Now they are huge, so I'll give that to them, but it isn't exactly hard to control an area in which no one lives in. So really, if you wanted to break them down to what they really are, it's more of like this, and of course they just annexed the Pink country, so it's more of like that, plus the colon. This up here is mostly inhabited and just is used for resources. But anyway, staying in the region over to Hokkaido, this Japanese country right here, which is in the north of the main island, will invade the yellow country over here, and this is another surprise attack, which they didn't see coming, but it doesn't matter because they're going to lose this. And it ends up looking something like this. Of course, full annexation. They didn't even have a capital on my map for some reason, so as they're getting ready to go up north, though, to this country here, a foreign country decides to make a landing, and oh, it's Korea. Korea has been extremely dormant and isolated as of lately. They lost their Alaskan area over here, and then of course they lost their northern province over here. But now they're back, and they kind of want to make a little bit of an influence again, since they lost that. They were once a top power, now they're not even in the top 10. So they're trying their best to fix that, and by doing that, they're invading one of the weakest countries in the world. But hey, you gotta do what you gotta do to prove yourself. So they annexed this small country. And the northern Japanese country is understandably mad about that, but at the end of the day, they're both imperializing it, so they can't really say anything about each other. But now, interestingly enough, the Korean country will also go after their old claims, and they're doing so very successfully. Now, this country has had time to really establish itself, and they have. The only issue is that they're still not strong enough to fend off Korea. And you might be wondering, the Chinese country helped these guys get their independence, so why aren't they helping them now? Well, the leader had a fallout, and that they kind of just broke off the whole relationship thing, and China simply doesn't care. In fact, what they're going to do is they're going to invade the rest of it. You know, since they're at it, why not? We're going to have the Dark Cyan country also invade it in kind of a large gangbang in northern Korea / China. So that is the end of that war. Very quick. These guys couldn't fight back. So let's take a look at this peace treaty. And in this peace treaty here, simply enough, the country is gone. The Koreans get the most out of it, getting a lot of the more populated areas, and the Chinese and I guess the Siberians only get 2 provinces amongst themselves, one going to China and then the other going over to them. And there's like no one living here, so it really wasn't worth it. But at the end of the day, Asia is looking a lot better with their border. No, I say that, and then I look at this border, I'm like, eh. Speaking of borders changing, the old empire and Russia are back at it again. And take a guess, who's getting invaded this time? Did you guess the Northern Red country? If so, you'd be correct. Ooh, where do I get started? I've been spewing the same thing over and over again about these countries, and you know, all the countries that are falling are all weak, so it's not like any large wars, but these guys are also extremely weak. Now, the Russian people are a lot more on board with this because culturally there is little to no difference between these two countries. I mean, I say that, but the main culture in Russia and the main culture in this country are similar, but Russia as a whole is so many different cultures mixed together. But the main one, which is the most popular, is very similar to that of this country. So when the invasion comes about, people really don't have too much of an issue with it. Now, as you can see by the province map here, all their population is down in this one place, and that's mostly because it's a lot more warm down here. Issue is, it's right on the border of the Russians, and the Russians are very quick to take over the town with little to no resistance. So after the fall of these smaller provinces, the Red country will simply just surrender over, and we can go ahead and take a look at a peace treaty, and take a wild guess at what that looks like. Full annexation. I mean, what can I say? These small countries are extremely weak, and they don't have anyone living there, so obviously they're not going to stay around too long. So yeah, the Russian country is now looking like this, a lot more Russian. But that will be the end of their expansion for now, and that's because they have to gear up for what they're going to be doing next. And they have a slight funny feeling that they're going to need to gear up because there might be a little bit of retaliation with what they're doing. Maybe just a little bit, who knows. But the old empire will also do the exact same thing, and they will start to gear up for whatever it is that they're about to do. Anyway, now we go to Africa, where we have something interesting happening. The white country over here is going to be pulling off an invasion of the remainder of this brown country here. Now remember, I think they already fought them, and they weren't able to completely annex them before, but now they're able just to, yeah, it's not pretty. But they complete their colony in Africa, and of course they could go after this Tanzanian country, but they don't really care enough there. They really just wanted the coastline of this area to increase their trade with other Asian countries over here, like the Indian country, who I'm sure wants European goods. I'm just not sure if they're trading through them or not, because, you know, the old empire right there, I'm sure they don't have an issue. I mean, I don't want to make it seem like the old empire is like unfriendly with the world. They don't have a grudge against the world. It's just that they got plans, and you know, if you're in the way, then you're gonna get smashed. But if you're not in the way, then hey, we're friends. We're not friends, but we're friendly. Same thing with pretty much every other country in the world. I don't think any of these guys have like too bad of a grudge, except for the green team. Like, their number one hop is the old empire, but they gotta watch out because they might not even be the strongest country in their area. You know, the red team's getting up there. The lime team, although a shell of its former self, would probably still put up a good fight against them. So yeah, the old empire might be the least of their worries, or, you know, they might be the most of their worries. It's just a matter of time until we figure that question out the next episode. And I hope you guys are excited for that, because it's going to be a big one. It'll be even bigger than World War I. So now I'm looking at this world map and I'm thinking to myself, where do we go from here? There isn't a lot of room left for small events, so it's time for the big events. Fast forwarding a couple of years, the world sees no military action and enters one of its most peaceful time periods as of the last 2 or 3 centuries. It's been about 8 years since the white team annexed that one country in Africa, and the Great Depression ended a few years ago, and the world is back to a stable economic state. Not as good as it was before the Depression or World War I, but it's applicable enough. Technology is booming, planes are now flying all over the place, and warplanes are very common now. Each country has been building up a sustainable Air Force, Navy, and infantry, tank divisions, stuff like that. You know, your World War II stuff. It is looking pretty good for the world. Except the only issue is that at any moment, a war could break out, and that would plunge the world into World War II. So I suppose we should start getting to that, shouldn't we? Ooh, I got the teams worked out for this war. Oh, it's looking so good, bro. This is going to be a crazy war. And yeah, I'm really excited for that, but that's not happening in this episode. But once again, I was just yapping about it. We got to get to some of these precursor things. And one of the events, which I need to talk about real quick, is the anti-colonialism movement. Now, about a third of the world, maybe even half of the world, is under colonization. 95% of North America is controlled by foreign powers. South America is about 3/5 under foreign powers. Oceania is completely held on to by foreign powers, unless you're including Indonesia, which there's a lot of independent countries there. And Africa is, let me think of a random fraction. They are, they're 4/5 under the control of foreign powers. Actually, that's probably not true. 4/7, how about that? Point is though, colonialism is very unpopular, and the leading country which is against imperialism is none other than the African Union. Remember, during the scramble for Africa, they voiced their opinions out saying, hey, this is bad, you shouldn't be doing this, but we're not going to stop you because we can't. So they're speaking out against anti-colonialism and imperialism, and the African Union itself has been dormant for a very long time, you know. Ever since they united together, they've been peaceful. They haven't really done anything. They've just been maintaining themselves and, of course, maintaining their relations with the European powers, and at this point, also the Asian powers. But now we head over to Eastern Europe, where, guess what's going to happen? Well, the invasion of Poland. These guys just united together in order to stop any invasion and aggression against them by the Russians. But unfortunately for them, the Square Alliance has other plans, and the Russians will start their assault into the country. Now, at this point, Russia's economy and the old empire's economy have been fully converted over to war economies, which means that they are less relying on, you know, your day-to-day jobs and more relying on the jobs of factory workers. The men are on the front line and the women are being forced into factories, much similar to what happened in World War II, at least in the United States. I'm not sure how it was in Europe, although I'd imagine that it was mostly the same. But the Russians invade into the blue country here, and the newer country struggles to really establish themselves. But after receiving support and equipment from the brown team, they are able to make a difference and make a pushback, cutting off a large amount of Russian troops in the tip over here of Latvia and encircling them and capturing them. Elsewhere, though, the Russians are having a lot of success, specifically in southern Poland, and they start to wash over right towards the brown team's border and eventually make contact. With a large amount of Polish troops encircled down here, they will flee into the Farmers Union, where they are all captured and sent right over to the old empire. The Triangle Alliance will question the Farmers Union, saying, why would you do that? And, well, to be honest with you, they don't give a response because they don't really need to. So as the Russian country is finishing up their invasion of the Polish country, the Farmers Union will send some boats down to the old empire, mostly full of prisoners, and they will arrive over here in this part of the old Union. Now the Triangle Alliance is going to do something pretty dumb. The Triangle Alliance will order the Greek country to send their troops in and to capture the troops which are prisoners to the old empire and send them back home to the blue team, and mostly they're concerned about the equipment of the brown team. So the brown team is kind of like the puppet master here. They're saying, hey, Triangle Alliance, you need to go get those prisoners because they have some of our stuff and we don't really want the old empire getting a hand of them. So the Greek country is very hesitant in this. But they do send forces into this province of the old empire, and they basically say, hey, we're not here to, you know, fight or anything. We're just going to capture these troops and we're going to get out. Now, look at me. Is that a valid reason to send troops into another country? You're going to force them to give up prisoners of war? You think the old empire is going to take that? Oh, absolutely they're going to take that. They'll happily hand back the prisoners, and World War II is avoided. No, I'm just kidding. The old empire is not having it, and they see it as an act of war, and they will declare war on the Greek country. And since the Triangle Alliance is essentially an attack one, attack all alliance, we are drawn in to the start of World War II between the Square Alliance and the Triangle Alliance. These two mighty alliances, I mean, they're the only two alliances in the world really, will now clash up against each other, and it is likely that we'll see some other countries join in on either side. But for now, that will be the end of today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're new. World War II in the next episode. Who's excited? I'm excited to get that thing recorded. I'm going to be recording it in like 5 minutes. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I will see you guys in the next video. And of course, thank you to all our super fans. This includes Georgie Badev, Deathstrider X, Arentine, HammerToad45, Connor the Gamer, Poland Country Ball, Nevada Garbage Trucks, and DW Cool Dude. Once again, thank you guys.